Today, I feel pretty good, which is very unusual for me. And let me tell you this, whenever I feel decent, I feel this overwhelming desire to be productive. And unfortunately, it stems from the same issues I have been discussing here on my channel for a while. So this sense of productivity is false. And why is that, you may ask? Well, it is because I do not feel full of energy necessarily, but I feel like I have to do something productive because I feel okay or even good. So this self-exploitation I have been looking into for quite a while, and what I discovered, well, pretty obviously, number one, is that I treat myself like a product. Like I have to perform to a certain standard, and if I don't, then I'm a faulty product. Number two is that I don't allow myself to enjoy my life because I don't feel like I deserve it. And this is very common in modern population. Even if you don't suffer from a chronic illness, you still may feel like if you did not do anything productive today, you don't deserve rest and enjoyment. Obviously, not everyone is going to fall victim to this kind of mentality, but I do. Every time I feel decent nowadays, I have to do something great, or else I'm a terrible human being. So this is a vicious cycle because I don't feel decent often enough to produce up to the standard that I have myself created, and which I believe is partially due to capitalist propaganda. Also, having chronic illnesses will make you feel like whenever you feel decent, you have to take advantage of those fleeting moments before you feel like a piece of trash again. Because my chronic illnesses usually affect the way I feel rather than the way I can work. I can still work most of the time, even when I have a flare. I usually am not incapacitated enough to just lie down and rest. So I will force myself to work through my flares. But for the activities that I enjoy, I usually don't have any energy left after I've worked. So obviously when I have, let's say, a day off and I don't have a flare of any of my illnesses, I feel completely paralyzed with this desire to do as many things as possible. And you know what happens pretty often on such days? I do nothing. And that's not because I'm lazy and apathetic. It's because I have so many things that I want to do on my list that I just can't start. I feel overwhelmed and I feel like there is not enough time in the world to do all of this. So I feel extremely anxious and anything I do is just subpar. So I just feel like I wasted another day of not being sick and being well enough to do more work or dedicate time to my hobbies. And that is terrible. It's terrible to exploit oneself. It's terrible to feel like your value stems in your productivity. And I talked a lot about these in many of my videos already. That is because I believe most of us, at least to an extent, suffer from one or the other symptom of these capitalist ailments, which are the sense that we are products, that we are commodities that are meant to produce, and if we don't, then we're useless, then we're broken. And it's upsetting and it is sad to see so many people just like me who share their stories online, to see how they treat themselves in such a manner that is lacking in compassion, lacking in kindness. So I want to share this with you because I want you to not feel this way. I want you to consider that many people around the world feel the same. And it's not that something is always wrong with us individually. It is that something is wrong with the way we build our society, with the way we produce and distribute our resources, and we can change that. So let's change that. And the simplest way to go about the changes is to start with oneself. Stopping to treat oneself as a product is extremely difficult because everyone around you is going to continue to treat you as a thing, unfortunately, or at least many will. So beginning with setting boundaries, healthy boundaries, is what has been slowly helping me. Not being afraid of saying no, and not being afraid of not doing anything, and understanding that your body and your mind greatly depend on how much you rest, and realizing that rest is not a recharge to do more work later. So this is what we can do on an individual basis to help improve our own lives. But as a collective, we can extend mutual aid towards each other. And mutual aid doesn't have to be material. It can be dedicating time to family and friends, which you hear a lot, and capitalism exploits that as well, because it turns everything into products. Spending quality time with friends and family can be invaluable to them and to you. Finding ways you can help people in your community that are not based on material gain, maybe cooking together, maybe reading together and doing a little book club, discussing, talking about important issues, talking about something that's not necessarily connected to our day-to-day lives, talking about something abstract and theoretical like friendship and love and affection and compassion. These are all very valuable conversations to have with your loved ones. Spending time in nature is another great way you can not only benefit yourself but benefit others. Well, first of all, because you're going to leave other people alone, give them some time to rest from being around you. Even if you're quiet at home, you can still influence people in your household. So if you go alone on a nature walk, you help them and yourself. And therapy in nature is really underrated. And there are many ways we can help each other without bringing material objects into the equation. And it's very important to keep exploring these options together so that we can help each other without having to follow the capitalist narrative.